Alrighty, so happy Easter. I have no idea if anybody's even available. I don't know if you're with your families or doing whatever, but I am going to, let's see, I'm going to be giving two free rune readings today. Count them two. And I hope you liked the intro music. I had to clean out all the darkness and intensity from the past couple of shows that we've done. So yes, let us focus on the essence of the season. So we have two things going on at the same time. We have April Fool's Day and we have Easter falling on the same day. So if you're not familiar with where the word Easter comes from, has nothing to do with Christianity. Easter is in fact an unchanged word. It hasn't changed in who knows how long. It's the name of the pre-Christian Anglo-Saxon goddess of the dawn. And her name was Easter. There might have been a different pronunciation because of the spelling. E-A-S-T-E-R, Easter or Ostre or something like that. But it hasn't changed. And that gives you an idea of how powerful this was and still is. And I mean, the whole idea of the Easter bunny and gathering Easter eggs. None of this has anything to do with what Christianity has tried to paste on this time of year. This goes back, we don't know how long, but it's obviously, these are signs of fertility, because what are bunnies known for? They're known for their procreative abilities. And so this has to do with spring. You know, we've just gotten past the spring equinox, which means that the sun has now moved. I mean, I've noticed it here where I'm at. The sun is setting in a completely different place than it was. It's moved, and you know, we're now racing towards summer, and so the days are going to start getting longer and start going to get warmer. But we've also got April Fool's Day. So April Fool's Day, if you don't know where that came from the fact that the pre-Christian Europeans used to used to celebrate the new year on April 1st. And so what happened is that the Catholic Church, at some point, I don't know the exact date, but some point in the Middle Ages, the Catholic Church changed calendars. And so in the new calendar, they had New Year's in January 1st instead of April 1st. And so the idea is that the uneducated country folk, which, by the way, that's what the word pagan means. Pagan does not mean polytheist. Pagan means country folk, which is like calling somebody a redneck or a hillbilly, or, you know, make up your word. Somebody who's uneducated. And so it was the uneducated that were the last to convert to Christianity. And so people would call them pagans, you know, like, the stupid redneck, he still worships, whatever. So the pagans, the country folk, the uneducated folk, were still using the previous calendar, which was based off of the pagan understanding, and the new year was April 1st. And so when April 1st would roll around and the stupid idiot pagan polytheists, if there still were any around, were celebrating the new year, then the highfalutin Christians would make fun of them and play pranks on them, and they would say, April Fools, like you're a fool for being so stupid to not know that it's not the new year. But we still have all of the celebrations. You know, that's one of the things that I love about Christmas and Easter especially, is that as long as you simply take out the Christian part of it and you leave the rest of the traditions, you still have our polytheist traditions there. You know, you have the Christmas tree and the giving of gifts during Christmas time, and all the warmth and the family and the fires and the Yule log and all that stuff, which goes back to the original midwinter solstice celebration. And now we have the Easter celebration, which is, again, I don't have to change the name. You know, Christmas is a Christian word, but Easter is not. Easter is a pagan word. It's a polytheist word. So that's why I love it. I love it when I see the little bunnies and I see the Easter eggs and all of that. And, you know, the whole idea of resurrection, which Christians had to sort of paste on top of Easter, which because people were celebrating the ancient understanding that we were entering in the spring, which has to do with the plants and the grass and the flowers coming up out of the ground and resurrecting and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, like I said, I had to I had to get myself out of that. We were going in kind of a dark place with all the stuff we were talking about, and you know, even I was feeling like, gosh, this is not what I was planning on for this. So I've gone in the other direction now. So let's just all get in a happy little Easter mood once again, and I'll come back and I will do some readings. So before I do that, in case there's anybody out there, I haven't checked yet. I am going to be taking somebody randomly to give them a free rune reading, and the way that I'm going to do it is, you know, you're going to pick a number between, you know, such and such and such and such. So please do not flood the thing with pick me, pick me, pick me. One thing I'm going to start doing is, if there's a lot of chatter, you know, sometimes there are people that are just disruptive, and I take them off. You know, I make them invisible or block them or whatever it is that YouTube does here. But if I find that there are people just constantly chattering with each other, it makes it difficult for me, because yesterday I missed a bunch of questions. And the reason for that is because I'm scrolling through all of the people talking to each other and throwing their opinions out. And so if it's not constructive dialogue that's helping me answer questions for other people, if I find that people are just can't keep their hands off the keyboard and they need to constantly throw their opinion out there or whatever, I may just start, it's not like I'm blocking you, it's just sort of you can't type. So just be aware of that. The less chatter, the easier it is for me to actually be helpful, which is the whole idea behind this. So anyway, let's listen to the happy little music again, and then we'll come back and I'll give out a rune reading. Okay, so happy, cute little music with the little bunnies. I mean, come on. Who can be in a bad mood when you're looking at baby bunnies and happy little music? It's just, you got to be happy if you listen to that and look at that. Okay, so we are going to be doing a 9-world rune reading. I'm going to be doing a couple of them. We don't have a whole lot of people, which makes sense because it is Easter after all. So let's talk about what a 9-world rune reading is, in case you're not familiar with that. So the runes are the ancient alphabet of the pre-Christian Germanic tribes. And the runes represent not just an alphabet, but they represent the syllables. The runes represent the original alphabet of the, as I said, the original Germanic tribes, but within that, it shows us how they spoke. And so we need to understand what the power of the spoken word and the power of sound. So each sound, each letter has its own property. I come from the belief that the runes exist independently in the universe. They're not just symbols. There's a lot of modern rune teachings that say that the runes are merely symbols, and we project our intention on them, and that's what gives them their power. And I don't agree with that. I believe that these sounds have power in and of themselves, and I believe that speech was originally created as a magical form of manifestation, a magical form of communication. And so ideally, what we want as shamans and wizards is to get to that place where we have cleaned out our three selves, and the communication between our three selves, which includes our soul, as well as our connection to the gods and to the universe, gives us the ability to simply speak our reality into existence. I've also found that in my experience, simply by working with the runes, the powers of those runes have their impact on my life. Now, I don't know what other people's experience are. That's why I don't, at this stage in my life, I don't know that I would start putting tattoos on myself, because, in the next 10 or 20 years, my body's going to change, and who knows what it's going to look like. But I don't tattoo runes on myself. I don't recommend that people do that, simply because I know if I were to do it, I would be filled with the power of that rune. And runes, when I work with them, are incredibly transformative, so I don't mess around with them. And in any case, we're talking about rune divination, which is a whole other different deal, which is where we ask the gods and we ask the ancestors to tell us, give us a snapshot of where we're at. Now, in terms of divination, I do use the runes for divination, but I've found that the runes really aren't so much a tool for divination. What they are is they're meant to be used in this way when you take rune readings. What you're really looking at is an energetic snapshot of whatever it is that you're talking about. So, for instance, when I was, my fiance, who has passed, there were times I was trying to figure out what was going to happen to her. And the rune readings never told me specifically whether she was going to live or die. And I came to the conclusion that's because from an energetic perspective, there is no such thing as death. There's just different types of energy, different forms of energy. So that's how I use the runes. But today what we're going to do is we're going to do the 9-world rune reading, which is that we are going to put the runes in the formation of the 9 worlds, which corresponds with one of our main teachings here, which is the thunder wheel. So let's take a look at the thunder wheel and the placement of all of the 9 worlds. And we also use, in this type of divination, we also use the concepts that I've introduced in my Rune Shamanism series, specifically the Advanced Rune Shamanism. And here is a picture of the rune wheel, where I have, now if you remember where all the worlds are placed, this is where we put the runes. So it gives us an even deeper understanding of how to use the runes to take a look at their connection to the 9 worlds, which are 9 dimensions of energy. Anyway, here's the rune wheel. Okay, so I'm sure a lot of you are already familiar with this, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out the runes. I will take a picture on my phone and I'll put it up here on the screen so you can see it, and we'll take it from there. So this is how this is going to work. Again, I will be taking questions, Q&A. It's, as I said earlier, again, I don't know how many new people are on since I started. Let's take a look. Yeah, a few more people, not a lot. So what we're going to do is this. I'm going to first start off by, and I'm not ready to do it yet, but if you want to interact with me, the best way to do it is to ask a question. And the way I know you're asking a question is you put question, and then you write your question. I am going to start filtering through, as I said. If there's a lot of chatter, people throwing around, talking to each other, throwing out their opinions, if I find that it's making it difficult for me to find the questions, I'm going to start getting rid of people off of the Q&A so that I can focus on people who are asking questions. And like I said yesterday, I missed a ton of questions, and it's because I couldn't see the questions for all the chatter that was going on. People talking to each other and throwing their opinions out and all of that. So I'm just going to let you know that's where this is going to start going so I can bring some order to this, more to these kinds of Q&As. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to pick a number between 1 and 50. So I'm going to pick a number between 1 and 50. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up the little magic bunny who's going to be all cute and sweet. And I'm going to, while I have him up there, put down what number you pick between, did I say 1 and 20? 1 and 50 is what I want to say. Did I say 1 and 50? Pick a number between 1 and 50, okay, and then put it down. And whoever's closest to what I'm thinking of, that's the person who I'm going to do a reading for. So focus on the little bunny and ask for his help. Okay, so did you put down your number? We're gonna take a look here. Wow, what is going on with that guy? All right, so here we go. We're already going to get rid of one person right off the bat. This guy has some serious issues here. All right, let me see if I can get, here we go. So we're going to get rid of this guy right now. See you later. Did it work? Yep. Okay, so we got rid of one guy already. Holy crap. So there's that. All right, so I'm going to take a look and see. All right, so now I'm seeing some numbers here. So Johnny says 32, Swift Data says 15, Savannah says 7, Pearl B. McCoy says 23, Eric says 24, 34, 39, 11, 49, 25. Unknown 793. Let's see. Unknown 793, you are the winner. The number was 26. So stop guessing because now we have a winner. And unknown 793. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to go ahead and we're going to use my rune thing here. So here's what you're going to do. I want you to take a deep breath. Inhale. And let's focus on Woden. Exhale. Take another deep breath. Hold it. Focus on Will. Exhale. Take another deep breath. Focus on Whale. And exhale. That's the Anglo-Saxon pronunciation of Odin, Vili, and Ve. Okay, so I hope I told you to exhale. So here we go. I'm going to now put out the runes. What I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take a snapshot of you. I haven't asked you to think of anything specifically. So unknown 793, this is going to be simply just a snapshot of you energetically, and you'll get an understanding, if you don't already, about how the 9 worlds work and how my system of rune reading with the 9 worlds works. But first I'm going to lay it out for myself here. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a picture on my phone. Alright, and whoops, I'm going to get rid of this. Get my camera ready. Where'd we go? Camera ready, and then taking a picture of runes here. Alright, and then what I'm going to do is transfer it to my computer and then put it on the screen so you can see it. So just give me another couple of seconds here. Okay, now it's transferred to my computer, and then, whoops, what just happened here? Got too much stuff on my desk. Okay, so what just happened here? Let's see. Where did that picture go? Is that this one? Yep, that's this one. Okay, so hang on. Let me move some things around here on my desktop. Oh, there it is. It's right there. So I pull that over there like that. Then I got to open it and fix it so it'll come out straight on the thing here. So give me another second. Okay, now it knows which way it needs to be. And then I pull this down into here. Haha! Success. So one more second here. Okay, alright, now we should be good to go. So, this is your rune reading. Take a good look at it. We're going to be coming back and forth between me and this screen so I can be telling you my interpretation. So here's how the rune layout came out for you. Okay, so remember we've got the 9 worlds. So let's take a look again at the map of the 9 worlds. Let's take a look at that one more time. So in the interpretation, this is what I do. I start with the center rune. So the center rune is Fehu. And what is Fehu? Well, first, what do we want to understand about the center rune here? So the center rune is representative of Midgard, which is where we live. We human beings live in what is known as Midgard, Middle Earth, right? So that's where you live. You live in Middle Earth. This represents your physical body, and it represents the full manifestation of all of the energies that the runes and the worlds are bringing together. It's the full expression of the combination of all the runes. So here we have Fehu, which is great. Fehu means cow. So we have a word in English called fee. When you want to pay for something, you pay a fee. That comes from back when our ancestors didn't have money. They paid for things with cows. So how many cows for that house, right? That was our money back then. But Fehu represents more than just money. It represents resources. Because if we go back far enough in time, the reason why we saw cows as money is because you could do everything with a cow. The cow was the Walmart of the primitive Germanic people. If you needed clothing, you had skins that you could use for clothing. If you need tools or weapons, they have bones in there. If you want to sew things up, you've got sinew. Obviously, there's meat you could eat, and there's milk and cheese and So the cow, basically, like I said, is just your Walmart. Whatever you need, you go there, and the cow will be able to give that to you. So it represents resources. On the surface, it could represent money, but really, what does money do? Money is an arbitrary symbol that we use to purchase the stuff, the clothes, the food, the stuff that the cow represents. So this is in the center position, which is Midgard, which means that you are in the experience right now of having a lot of resources come to you. It may be money. You may be doing well financially, but at the very least, it means that you have resources available to you. If you're not aware of that, the universe is saying, listen, you got everything that you need. It's right there at your fingertips. Okay? All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at the rune for the mist home, which is going to be in the north. So we're looking at the top center rune next. Let's take a look and see what's there. Okay, so now we have the Sewage rune. This is a rune of intensity. So let me talk about the placement first. In the north, the way that I am interpreting the north to represent, this is energy that is coming into manifestation. So you may be just starting to feel the effects of this rune, but it means that it's coming to you, and you will feel this in your life very soon. So when we have runes that are merkstave or flipped, oftentimes that means that you're given a heads up, like, hey, there's a potential blockage coming your way. Let's do something now to head that off. You have the most auspicious rune coming to you, which is the rune of transformation. Now, fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, the Sewage rune is also a rune that can be very challenging. So we have two runes of dynamic transformation. Of course, all the runes are dynamic transformative, but specifically within the runes, we have two that stand out. One is Luggage, which is the rune of voluntary transformation. And then we have Sewage. Sewage is experienced as involuntary, meaning that you feel like it's happening to you. Now, of course, if we look at the whole aspect of weird, which is the law of manifestation of past, present, and future, then we find out that whatever it is that's happening to you, you did create. You did something in the past to create a scenario that will result in this effect. What that is, I don't know. I would have to ask you a bunch of questions, but you have Sewage. You have transformation is coming to you. Now, because there is no such thing as merkstave Sewage, there's nothing we can do about it. It's coming. The best that you can do in these situations is to focus on where you want to transform, how you want to improve in your life, and to flow with this transformation. So, the more that you fight Sewage, the more challenging it is. There's really nothing you can do about it. This is the rune of shamanic initiation, transformation from life to death back to life again. So again, it's the most auspicious rune, but it may represent a death of something within you, but it's definitely transformative. So that is coming your way. Congratulations to you for that. Let's take a look at the next rune, which is going to be in the northeast, which is the realm of Asgard, the realm of the celestial deities. And here we have the rune Kenna. Kenna means knowledge. It's the same word, know. That first part, the KN, that's Kenna. Gnosis, GN. Latin or Spanish, conozco. conocer, to know. So it means knowledge in that way. In English, we have a very interesting and I think a very appropriate threefold understanding of this word can. Little kids ask their parents, can I have this? Can I go do that? If you want to know if somebody has the ability to do something, you say, can you do that? Can you drive a car? It represents being given authority. Can they do that? Or can they not do that? Meaning, are they allowed to do that? So it represents knowledge, meaning the intellectual knowledge. It represents the physical ability. Can you lift that? I mean, I know how to lift that. The question is, do you have the ability to lift that? And then, do you have authority? Can you drive? Do you have a license? So this is Kenna, and this is in the northeast, which is the realm of the celestial gods. And in this placement, whatever rune is in the northeast represents your ambition, your inspiration, your hope, your spiritual, more like religious fervor. So it's a very hopeful position, and it has a lot to do with inspiration. So along these lines, we have Kenna's Merkstave, which means it's reversed, which means that you are feeling confused. So you're feeling confused, perhaps in terms of your inspiration, perhaps in terms of your spiritual connection to the gods. You may be confused in terms of your hopes and your dreams. So in my experience, when we're dealing with Kenaj and confusion, confusion isn't really what it seems to be. Confusion means a lack of determination. We get confused when we're not determined to go forward. Which way should I go? What should I do? Should I do that? Because the truth is, we kind of know. We always know what we should be doing and where we should be going. It's just whether or not we have the determination or sometimes just the trust to do it. So when it comes to working with the gods, and the gods are, they don't have any middle ground. The gods are either fully shining or they're not. They're happy, they're sad, they're very extreme. So to have confusion here can be a challenging scenario. So the way, in my experience, one of the ways to work with confusion is to be determined. So think about what it is that you're hoping for, because it also represents your hope, and then be determined. See if you can tap into the power of Uruj, which is determination. And once you get determined, that confusion will oftentimes flip around. All right, let's keep moving. Let's go to the eastern direction, which is in the middle right section, and this represents the giant home. So where did I go? Okay, let's take a look at what's in the eastern direction. Okay, and here we have Ansuj. So Ansuj is in a good place. Now, let me tell you my experience of what the meaning of the placement is here. So whenever a rune ends up in the east, the eastern direction represents your identity, your how you are relating to yourself, how you give to yourself. The west is how you give to others. The east is how you give to yourself. You have a great scenario here because you have Ansuj. Ansuj is the rune of divine communication. So this means that you are communicating with your own identity, with your own self. It's a very powerful placement here. So this is good. This means that perhaps through meditation, perhaps through prayer, connecting to the gods, you are having this dynamic conversation with your own identity to figure out who you are. We have to have an identity in this world. There's no such thing as bad ego. You either have ego or you don't. And when you don't have ego, then you end up either being insecure and a doormat, or you end up being controlling and abusive. But they all, both of those extremes represent a lack of ego. So having a sense of self means that you're secure in yourself, and you're not easily swayed, or other people's opinions don't bother you all that much. So you are in communication with yourself. So this is an excellent position. Excuse me, this is an excellent rune for that position. All right, let's move to the next rune, which is in the southeast, which is in the bottom right corner. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so there we have Nauthij. Nauthij is two sticks rubbing together. It's also called need fire. So we'll talk about the meaning of that in a second. But so Nauthij represents constriction, and it represents feeling frustrated. Now Nauthij is a little bit of not exactly what it seems on the surface. On the surface, it seems like it looks like a rune that blocks you, because if you feel constricted, you feel frustrated, your experience is that nothing else works. I can't get anything to work. I can't seem to get this to work. But what Nauthij really means is that you're on the verge of dynamic discovery, because you think about it, these are two sticks rubbing together to create fire. It's called need fire. What does that tell you? It tells you that our Ice Age ancestors were freezing to death in caves, and they had to figure out a way to stay alive. And so somebody was really, really determined to figure out how to find fire. Now, normally, what did they do to find fire? They had to wait for a lightning strike. And then they'd have to go, if they saw lightning, and it hit 10 miles away, they'd have to hoof it 10 miles to see if there was some kind of a brush fire. And then they'd get something, and then they'd have to hold on to the, transport the fire back to their cave. And so if they went anywhere, somebody had to keep the fire with them, until, if the fire went out, they had to wait for another lightning strike. So they got tired of that. And so you can imagine there was somebody there that was absolutely determined. It's like, I'm going to figure out, I don't want to wait for a stupid lightning strike every time I need fire. I want to make it myself. So they figured out, they tried to do everything. They're smashing rocks together. They're screaming at it. They're rubbing pieces of leather together. I mean, who knows how long it took for them. And finally the guy says, there's two sticks, I'll try that. And then he's really determined to get those sticks to, and sure enough, he figured out he got a spark and he was able to make fire. It took a lot of work. But it also took having an open mind. Because in order to have figured that out, somebody said, okay, that doesn't work, let's try this. Let's keep trying that. No, that's not going to work. So you ask yourself, when you have Nauthij, you go, what is it that I can do differently? What have I been doing that just doesn't work? No matter how hard I try, it just doesn't work. I'm going to figure this out. So ask yourself that question. What is it that I can do differently? Now, you have this in the southeast, which is the realm of the dwarves. And what do the dwarves do? The dwarves are builders. The dwarves represent emotional energy, emotional power, and they represent your ability to intend through your third eye and your subconscious mind, because that's the dwarf home, is your subconscious mind. You have three minds. You have your conscious, your unconscious, and your subconscious. This is the subconscious. And I keep this here specifically because this is such an important topic. Here are the three minds. Okay, you have the conscious, the subconscious, and the unconscious. We'll talk about the unconscious soon, but right now we're dealing with the subconscious mind. This is the part of your mind that holds on to things like driver's license numbers and phone numbers and license numbers and all that kind of stuff. And so it's not something you're thinking about all the time, but when you need it, what's your phone number? Oh, my phone number is, comes just right there. It's just right below, below, right below the conscious mind. But from a spiritual perspective, the subconscious mind is a lens through which you intend your reality through your third eye. Now, all three of these cells have to be communicating in order to be able to do that. But ideally, when all three of the cells are communicating, then you have the ability to intend through the lens of your subconscious mind to create your reality. So here you are feeling frustrated. You've been trying to manifest things on a subconscious level, and you feel trapped. But it's an illusion. The truth is that you are on the verge of learning something tremendously valuable for you that will give you the ability to intend your reality. You just simply have to think outside of the box. So don't get discouraged. Keep asking yourself, what's a different way of doing it? What's a different way of looking at it? Keep yourself open to different ways of seeing things. Keep yourself open to understanding different philosophies. Maybe something will come along, something may spark what you need. But don't give up hope. You're on the verge of completely revolutionizing your ability to manifest. This is what happened when our ancestors figured out how to make fire. Everything now in our world, the light that I'm using here is fire. This computer is run by fire, electricity. My car is run by fire. I cook my food with fire. Everything in our world, technology is run by fire. It was a huge technological advance. If that person or those people had not figured out how to rub two sticks together to create fire, we would still be in caves today. So that's how dynamic and how transformative this is going to be for you. Okay? All right, let's look to the next one, which is in the south. This is Manaj. The south, the fire home. This represents your actions. So these are the actions that either you are taking or that you would benefit from taking. And here you have the rune for the divine mind, which is Manaj. The name man, which means human. Originally, the word man did not mean male human. It meant both men and women, but it meant human being. And man is the same word for mind and the word for moon. And so it represents the divine meditative mind. What does the moon do? The moon reflects the light of the sun. So to truly meditate is to reflect the light of the eternal spirit, to see things from an objective perspective. And here, this is the action that you either need to be taking or that you are taking. To meditate, to tap into your essence as man. We are the only animals in the world that have this. There's no other animal on our planet that has the ability to reflect the divine spirit through meditation. We are the only ones that do it, and it's what defines us. If we don't have this ability to that degree that we don't have the ability to reflect objectively, we are not human. We are dwarf. So that doesn't mean, I'm not saying that you have to be an expert in meditation. What I'm saying is that to tap into your essence as a human is to think critically, I believe, to be a critical thinker, and to step back and see things from an objective perspective, understand what your emotional agendas are, and not be attached. This is one of the big things about meditation. It allows us the ability to take conscious action. So it's a rune of consciousness. In any case, this is the actions that you either need to be taking or that you are taking, which will be helpful for you in terms of your life. So moving on to the next rune, let's take the rune that's in the southwest, which is the realm of the underworld, Hellhome. Let's take a look at that. Here we have Luggage. Luggage is a very powerful rune, a very deep rune. It represents, in my experience, deep emotions. So here, Luggage is not Merkstave. It is not reversed. It is right side up, which means that in your deepest of unconscious mind, because the southwest, the underworld, represents your unconscious mind, it means that you have connection and access to deep emotions. This is important because this is the realm that I look for to see if there's any major issues here, because this is your unconscious mind. So in the graph here we see that the unconscious mind carries with it the bulk of it. The bulk of our mind is in the unconscious. And so that means that the unconscious mind is really making all the decisions for us. So our unconscious is neither good nor bad. If we are holding on to unresolved emotional issues, if we're holding on to beliefs that don't serve us, if we're, this is like I'm constantly hammering away at conspiracy theories and fear-based thinking, because these are belief systems that if you incorporate them into your unconscious, they will run your life. This is why you have people who can say, I don't know why this happens or that happens, or people who really want to be financially successful, but for whatever reason they can't. They're constantly giving themselves, positive affirmations, telling themselves that they're rich and they're successful, but no matter how much they consciously focus on it, for whatever reason, they're always creating or finding themselves in difficult circumstances. That's because that they have an unconscious belief. Unconscious means you are not conscious. You are not aware of it. You don't know you're doing it. So on an unconscious level, it means that there are things that we think and we believe, whether we realize it or not, on a conscious level, that are really determining our lives. So here we've got a good scenario because we have Luggage in there. Luggage is not reversed. This is very good because the unconscious mind is also one of the places that creates our emotional life. It's our reaction. We react to life as it comes to us based on our unconscious patterns and beliefs. And so if things are reversed in there, then we have problems. But this is saying in this particular reading that you have a good connection to your emotional self, and that you, on an unconscious level, are able to experience your emotions. So this is good. This means, I'd need to know more to know how it affects you, but this is a very good placement and a very good rune. So let's move to the next, which is in the west, which is the middle left rune here. And here we have Wunjo reversed. Wunjo is Merkstave. So, what is Wunjo? Wunjo is translated as meaning joy. I would translate it slightly differently. For me, it's not just joy like, ooh, I'm feeling happy. That would be more Dagaj. This rune of Wunjo to me is the joy and the warmth and the love that comes from family and friends and those kinds of feelings. It's that kind of joy. The joy, like we talk seasons of joy, like for Christmas, what makes it a joyous season is getting together with family and friends. That's the joy that comes from that. So Wunjo wants to be in the West here because, as we recall, the East is how you treat yourself, the West is how you treat others. So this means that there is some disappointment, some sadness. So you're experiencing some sadness and some disappointment having to do with others. I don't know if that means that perhaps you've lost somebody and you're feeling the sadness of not being able to give, or perhaps you've been disappointed and you've been hurt or in some other way damaged in your relationship to others, and so you're holding yourself back from giving because you feel sad, because you feel disappointed. So obviously, you know what you got to do. I tell you what you got to do. You got to look at the little bunny. Get yourself happy. Very hard to be sad and disappointed with that little bunny staring at you. So you got to think of that little bunny. Anyway, I'm being a little superficial here, but I am somewhat serious, meaning, like I did here today. I had a horrible day yesterday. You saw it in the video I did. I just was not in my best place, and it's because I was missing. I was missing my partner. Couldn't have a holiday with my partner. I'm missing her. She died 5 months ago. So that is why I did this today. I wanted to give, because the way to get back into happiness is to give. So that's what I'm doing here. So I recommend that for you as well. And hopefully that by giving to others, you can find the joy again. So anyway, that is how you are relating to others. Let's move to the next rune, which is in the northwest, which is the top left rune. So let's take a look at that one. Okay, so here we have the Hajj rune, and it is Merkstave. It is reversed. Hajj is the rune of the shaman. It is the rune of energetic protection, spiritual protection. It represents the elk horn, the antlers, and it looks like this because this was a weapon. It's an ancient weapon that was used. You would, take an elk antler that had these 3 prongs, and you would sharpen it up, and you had a very powerful weapon. And it also represents the shaman itself, the shaman with his or her arms outstretched to the universe, and the energy from the heavens is merging with the energy of the earth that's coming up. And so the result of those 2 energies of heaven and earth coming together creates this dynamic shield of energy. It represents your aura, the power of your aura, the energy in your aura. It represents the energy that's done through energy work, which creates a powerful protective energy. Represents health, in my experience. There's 2 runes, at least 2 runes for health. One is Uruz, which has to do with physical strength and drive, and then there's Hajj, which represents the actual health. So sometimes when we get ill, it's a result of our aura, our energetic field being depleted. And this is why, again, when we talked about things like psychedelics and power plants, one of the things that they do is they explode the aura out, and then the aura collapses in. The worst thing you can do is take a psychedelic when you're trying to fight off an infection, because that'll just suck all the energy out of your protective field and make you even sicker. So this is in the northwest, which represents the elves, the ascended masters. The ascended masters, the elves, the shining ones, are beings that used to be human a very long time ago, and they've achieved their highest awareness, their enlightenment. And like the bodhisattvas, they turn back just as they're about to enter into infinity, and they turn back towards human beings to help guide them like a beacon, like a light, help guide them to their own awareness. So any interaction with the elves is that the elves are trying to help you on your path, your evolutionary path. It's all they care about. Any message that they give you is always going to be how you can best navigate your connection to yourself and to others that will be helpful for everybody. They're looking at the ultimate evolution and health of all beings in the universe. So here we have this power of protective energy, and it's Merkstave. So in my experience, this means that the elves are saying you need to empower yourself. You need to do something to give yourself that protective energy, which, the best way I know how to do it is with, let's see if I can point to it, with this right here, qigong.thunderwizard.com, or you can just go onto my channel and look for Qigong. Just do any of the Qigong. That will empower you. And if they're telling you that, it means that, this is... The other thing about the aura that's important to note is that in order for us to connect to our third eye, to our crown chakra, we have to have a strong, empowered aura. We can't do that if our aura is disempowered. If our aura is weak, we won't be able to, it's an antenna. We won't be able to get the information from the higher sources. So they're saying that there might be some issue there, which can be remedied through things which will empower your aura. So whatever it is that you need to do, whether that's doing Qigong or whether that's simply by getting enough rest or by meditating more, and all three, all of those things. That's what they're looking for. Okay, so now that I've gone through all 9 of the runes here, and I'm assuming this is a snapshot of you, the next thing that I do is I take a look to see if there are any combinations of 3 Merkstave runes, because that'll tell me if there's a serious issue or not. So let's take a look at the whole reading again and see what we find in terms of the Merkstave runes. Okay, so we don't have any combinations of 3. For instance, let's say if there were 3 Merkstave runes going from the northwest to the southeast. That would represent a challenge in terms of your subconscious connecting to your higher conscious and your ability to manifest. So, just for an example, we don't have that because your center rune is not Merkstave, which means that you don't have any major like through lines of problems that need to be dealt with. It doesn't mean that there aren't relationships between them, because we've got the top 3 runes are almost Merkstave. Hajj cannot be Merkstave, but it sort of has that same experience of being Merkstave because it's so challenging. So here we have the northwest, the north, and the northeast, almost completely Merkstave. This, in my experience, represents the higher self. So if we were to split it in 3s, the top 3 runes would be your higher self, the middle 3 runes would be your middle self, which is your soul, and then the bottom 3 runes would represent your lower self, your subconscious and your unconscious mind. So we don't have any problems there. The biggest ones would be that top line. So there's a transformation coming to you on a spiritual level. And it's going to affect your connection to the gods as well as to the ancestors, to the elves. So, as I said, both times what's going to help that is meditation. Energy work, I believe, is going to be very helpful for you. Let's see what else we got here. We've got, almost have another connection of 3 runes, Merkstave, which is the northwest and the west are both Merkstave. But in the southwest, we have Luggage, which is not Merkstave, which means that sort of stops that. Having said that, the left side, we're talking about the left side of the runes, which means your internal experience of yourself and how you treat others, how you connect to others. And so here we have some issues there. Again, we see a lack of energy, protective energy connected to some sadness, some disappointment. So the way to reverse the sadness and disappointment is to give, to be selfless and to give, and to connect to life force energy, either through meditation or energy work. This will help empower you to give to others. And, we can't get unless we give. The Gebo rune is equal exchange of energy. It's not like you give and don't get, and it's not like you get and don't give. In order to get that flowing, you have to do both. You have to learn how to accept. So it could also be there's an issue of learning how to accept love from others, to accept things from others. That's also part of giving. One of the greatest gifts you can give to somebody is allow them to love you, allow them to give to you. So that could be what's in play here as well. In any case, we have a pretty decent rune scenario here. I don't have a whole lot more to say, but if this were an actual rune reading, I would be on the phone with you and I would be asking questions and I would be able to get even deeper knowledge and awareness. So if you're interested in having one of these rune readings, you can go to this one right here, which is runereadings.thunderwizard.com or transformation.thunderwizard.com. Transformation.thunderwizard.com. I give you a 9-world rune reading as well as a North Star reading. Maybe I'll do one of those today before we go. So Anyway, that's your rune reading. Congratulations. Let's take a little break to listen to the happy music and look at the cute little bunnies. And then I'll come back and maybe take some questions and definitely give out another reading. So hang on. Alrighty, so we're back. Alright, so let me take a look and see if we have anybody here on this Easter April Fool's Day. Now we've got a whopping 32. Alright, so let me take a look and see what we had here. We had a troublemaker. I got rid of him. And then we had a rune reading for unknown, what was it? Unknown 793. So congratulations. I hope that was helpful to you. We are going to do another rune reading here soon. I'll check and see if there are any questions. All right, so again, if you're new to my channel, here's how this is going to work. On these Q&As, I do not respond to anything other than questions. What I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start weeding out if there's somebody who's really chatty or if there's too much conversation going on. Because yesterday I missed a bunch of questions, and that's because I'm having to scroll through all the people throwing their opinions out. Now, yesterday was a controversial class, so I take responsibility for that. In any case, though, the more that you can limit your unnecessary comments and communications with each other, the easier it is for me to focus on the questions and be more helpful to others. So bear that in mind. If somebody's really talkative or getting in the way, I'm going to mute them. Anyway, so let's take a look. I don't see any questions here. Oh, here's one question. Swift data. Question: is the concept called the 9 essences slightly correct? For example, I don't know what you're talking about. So Swift data, my friend, I would recommend spending time watching my videos, reading my books, knowing what it is that I teach. That way you can ask questions that'll be pertinent to my knowledge. Because if you ask questions outside of my knowledge, I can't answer you. Okay? All right, so let's see what else we got going on here. All right, so that's it for the questions. So I am going to take another reading. Here's how the rune reading is going to work. I am going to pick a number between 50 and 100. Don't do anything yet. This is how I know you're listening to me. Don't do anything yet. I'm going to pick a number between 50 and 100, and whoever is closest to that number is who I'm going to give another reading to. So let's take a little bit of time. We're going to look at the happy little bunny and ask the bunny to help you guess the right number between 50 and 100. And when I'm come back, then I will see who has won, and we'll do another 9 world rune reading. This time I want to do something different. Again, listen. This time, I want whoever it is that's getting the reading, I want you to think of a specific question. I'm not going to know it, what the question is, so that's actually good for you because I won't be influenced. But I want you to know what your question is, what you want to focus on. And we'll see where it goes. So, all right. Pick a number between 50 and 100 and ask the little bunny here for your help, and then we'll be right back. That is one cute little bunny. I would love to pet that cute little bunny. Looks like he's clapping. So he's very happy about something. And what is cuter than a happy little bunny? I can't think of anything. All right, so now I'm going to take a look and see. Remember, you're choosing between a number between 50 and 100. Whoever's closest is who gets it. So let's take a look here. All right, so. Okay, so let's see here. Between 50 and 100, we have 67, 77. We've got a tie, 77. 50, 82, 81, 67, 88, 77. Again, a third one for 77. Okay, so Lady in Thread, Swift Data, and who else? Who was the other person that had 77? Swift Data, and who is this? UU77. The three of you are tied because you are the closest. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to do a runoff. So no more numbers. We're going to have to do a runoff between only UU, Swift Data, and Lady in Thread. Only you three. We're going to have to do a runoff. So between the three of you, I want you to pick a number between 1 and 20. Don't do it yet. Listen to the little bunny. So between 1 and 20, only the three of you. All right, so let's see who got closest there. All right, so remember it's a runoff between Swift Data, UU, and Lady in Thread. Swift Data, UU, and Lady in Thread. And Swift Data has logged in with 15. All right, so I'm waiting for the other two guys. UU says 7. Lady in Thread is the only one left. 16. All right, so Lady in Thread wins. The number was 17. By the way, the other one before was 76. You were all three of you were off by one. So, all right, so Lady in Thread, I don't want to know what your question is. Don't tell me because I don't want to be influenced. What I'm going to do is we're going to now put down the spread here. I want you to be focused on what your question is. And then what we're going to do is you're going to take a deep breath. And we are going to ask Woden for his help. Exhale. Take another deep breath. And then we're going to ask Will to guide us. Exhale. Take another deep breath. And then we're going to ask Whale to help us. Remember, Woden, Will, and Whale are the Anglo-Saxon pronunciation of Odin, Vili, and Ve. All right, so now we've got everything ready to go. Now I'm going to put down the runes here in the 9-world fashion. Okay, and then I'm going to take a picture. Let's see what's going on here. I'm going to take a picture. Let's see, I guess I have to go to my camera, don't I? Not my photos, but my camera. Here we go. All right, so. Okay, now that I've got the photo, then I'm going to send it to my computer. And let's do that. Okay, sending it to my computer. And there it is. Now let me move some things around here so that I can put it on your screen. Okay, so let's see. Bring that up to there. And then let's bring this here. Oh, I'm going to have to actually... Very good. All right, let me get it a little fix the size a little bit. Okay, so I've already explained to you what everything is and what it means. Now we're just going to go through and watch, or we're going to go through and interpret that. Now you have a question. I don't know what it is. I don't want to know what it is. This is just for you to know. Again, if this were a live reading, which I do with the runereadings.thunderwizard.com and or the transformation.thunderwizard.com, then we would be talking over the phone, and after I interpreted the runes, I would then ask you what it was, and then you would tell me, which would give me even deeper insight. And if I have your astrology reading, I can look at your astrology and your North Star astrology and all kinds of other stuff to let you know. And interestingly enough, this stuff works really well together. All three of those things really reflect, surprisingly, well together. In any case, we're just going to take a look at this rune reading. So let's take a look at it. Let's just look at the whole thing here, and then I'll begin interpreting. Okay, so we are going to start with the rune in the middle. So this represents Midgard. This represents Middle Earth. It is the culmination of all the other 8 runes come together. It represents your physical body. It represents what you are experiencing and what is most readily observable. And so here we have the Othal. Othal rune is Merkstave. It is reversed. So without knowing what it is, I'm just going to throw out my understandings of this rune. So Othal represents your inheritance. It has a very strong connection to land, but it could be land, inheritance. If we're not talking about that, then we're talking about being grounded in yourself. It's a very strong earth rune, and it's it's the last rune in the Futhark, and so it represents the culmination of all the runes put together. So if it's Merkstave like this, it could mean something as simple as you are in the process of moving, or you have moved, but it could also mean that you feel disconnected, you feel ungrounded, like you're just sort of floating around looking for some place to root yourself. Again, I don't know what the specifics are, you do, but so that's the overall experience of all the runes come together. So let's take a look at the next one, which is going to be the top middle, which is the north direction and the realm of the mist home. Okay, so that rune is Uruj. Uruj is in the north, which means that this is coming to you. You may begin to feel it. It's not Merkstave, so we don't need to do anything about it. It's not going to be causing us any problems. So there's no need to try and counteract it. And Uruj means strength, power. It can mean physical health, physical vigor. It could represent sexuality or sexual potency. It could represent determination. And so this is, like I said earlier, Uruz is a remedy for the Merkstave of Kenaj. When we're confused, we want Uruz, we want determination. Because once you're determined, when you're determined to do something or figure something out, you stop being confused very quickly because you end up making choices and taking actions. And so here we have Uruz coming to you, which could mean any one of those things. I would need to know more to get closer to that. But be prepared for an influx of energy, whether physical, sexual, and or in terms of determination, or all three, for all we know. Let's move on to the next rune, which is in the northeast, the realm of the celestial deities. And we have Luggage. Luggage represents emotions, and here it is once again not Merkstave, which means that this represents your hopes, your ambitions, your dreams, your inspiration, your spirituality, your religiosity. Could even just be your connection to the gods. But here we have Luggage, which means your emotions. So you have strong emotions connected to this. If you're an artist, like let's say you're a musician or something like that, then this means your inspiration musically is filling you with a lot of emotional connection, and this is good. So you have, at the very least, a strong connection to the celestial deities on an emotional level. And we're not just talking surface emotions, we're talking deep spiritual emotions here. This is what Luggage represents. Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is in the east, in the middle right of your screen. Ingvaj. So Ingvaj is a rune of incubation. And this, the eastern realm, which is the realm of the giants, it's also the realm of Thunar. And Thunar goes off in the east to protect our boundaries from the giants. The giants are destroyers of boundaries. And Thunar goes to protect that. So the Thurisaj rune, which has to do with boundaries, is naturally here in the east. But here we have Ingvaj, which means how you are dealing with yourself, because the east is how you deal with your identity, how you deal with your boundaries. And here we have Ingvaj, which means that you are in a state of incubation. So lots of times when we're in the state of incubation, we get impatient. So one of the ways to honor Ingvaj is to be patient, because energy is building. It's building towards something, and like an egg, it's going to crack out of its egg. It's going to explode. And so it's a very powerful rune, but it means you just got to be patient. But in terms of how you deal with yourself in this particular instance, whatever it is you're thinking about, you are going through some change, and your self-esteem, your connection to your identity is building. So energy is coming to you, so you will have a stronger identity. Just give it a little time. Okay, let's move to the southeast, which is going to be the bottom right rune here, the dwarf home. Okay, here we have Berchtana Merkstave, Berchtana reversed. So Berchtana is the rune of beginnings, a rune of birth. The birch tree is also a cleansing, healing rune tree, was the first tree to emerge after the ice ages. So as the ice receded during the ice ages, the first tree that came up was the birch tree. So that's one of the reasons why it's connected to new beginnings. If you've ever taken birch bark and thrown it into a fire, it pops and it crackles, and it's all the colors of the rainbow. So it's a really dynamic, wonderful rune. So this is in the subconscious mind, which is in the southeast, the realm of the dwarves, which, as we know, is the realm of the ability to intend with your subconscious mind. And here we have Berchtana reversed. Now, if this were Perthro Merkstave, it would mean something was absolutely at a karmic ending. You can't go any further. For instance, if we're talking about, let's say, if I'm doing just a 3-rune reading on a relationship, and Perthro reversed comes up, it means that's it. The universe has said this relationship is over. There's, at the very least, a very strong karmic ending, and you have to start all over again. Or the universe is saying that's it. Door is closed. Nothing you can do. That lesson has been learned. Time to move on. If you keep trying to make things go with Perthro reversed, you're just banging your head against a steel door. Nothing's going to happen. But we have Berchtana, which doesn't necessarily mean an ending. So again, if this were a relationship and that came up, it would mean that you were going to think about ending the relationship. Doesn't mean the relationship is going to end. It very well might, but at the very least you're thinking about ending it. So here, in terms of what it is you are trying to intend, you are thinking about something that you want to end. You want to bring it to an end. You want to stop doing something. So that is obviously affecting your ability to intend, because when you're thinking about ending something, it's hard to manifest something like that. So this is probably connected with the rune above it, and it may just need to give it a little time. Something has come to an end. You have stopped doing something, perhaps, or you're thinking about stopping something or ending something, and this is where your mind is in terms of your intentions. Okay, without knowing any more from you, that's I can't really tell you anymore. So let's move on to the next one, which is in the south, the realm of the fire home. So let's see what's going on there. And here we have the rune Sewage. Sewage is the soul. It means the soul. Sewage, S-A-W-U-L, is how we used to spell the way we spell it now, which is S-O-U-L. The Anglo-Saxons and the Scandinavians way back when took ah sounds and turned them into o, just like when people pronounce asatru, they actually pronounce it osatru, so it has an o sound to it. So Sewage means soul, doesn't mean anything else. Soul also means the sun in the sky, which is your soul is the sun in your universe, your soul. You are the spirit. So this is the realm of action. So we're in the south. So the actions that you are either taking or the actions that you need to take will be of a spiritual nature. And actions that directly connect to your soul. Now, what is spiritual? Spiritual is not just doing, ritual and worship. It also is doing things that give you joy, that align you to your true path, your true orlog, your true destiny. So these are the things to be thinking about. Taking actions that will connect you more deeply to your soul and to your true path, to your true happiness, your true joy. This is what this rune and the placement of it is talking about. Okay, moving on, let's go to the next one, which is in the south. West, the realm of the underworld. Okay, so here we have, in the underworld, Hellhome, we have Yera. Yera is the rune of relationship. And it comes from the same word, and it looks like a gear, G-E-A-R. Same word. What does a gear do? They're two things that connect together, part of a whole machine. It creates a machine, and as long as the little things of the little teeth of the gear are together, they move forward and they drive the engine forward. The year is like that. We have the months coming together, and they build on top of each other, and they move the year. The months come together and move the year forward. So this could mean relationship. It means romantic relationship. It means marriage. It also means cooperative relationship between business partners, between friends, in the unconscious mind. So on an unconscious level, whatever it is that we're talking about, you are in cooperation with your unconscious, and you are thinking deeply about relationship and cooperation on the unconscious level. Merging. So Gebo is different. Gebo is relationship as well, but it's equal exchange of energy. This is an equal interconnectedness of energy, which is why it's so closely connected to romantic relationships and marriage. But whatever it is, we're talking about a cooperative relationship. It cannot be Merkstave, so this means on an unconscious level you are cooperating and connecting. So again, without knowing what it is, this is a very powerful rune. Moving on to the next one, which is in the west there, the middle left of your screen. Here we have Thurisaj, the rune of boundaries. So Thurisaj wants to be in the east because to have a healthy sense of self, we have to create healthy boundaries. And that's what Thor does in the east. He drives away the giants. The Thurses specifically, are the giants who have no respect for boundaries. They destroy your boundaries. But here we have Thurisaj in the west, which is how you give to others. So the east is how you give to yourself. And here, as we know, we have Ingvaj, which means that you are creating a powerful incubation stage, which means that you're giving energy towards your ego. And so it makes perfect sense as I look at it, because how you give to yourself is you're creating boundaries. You are taking time to create your own identity, empower your own identity. In order to do that, you got to create safe boundaries between you and other people. So this is good. This is very healthy. We've got a very healthy scenario here. And it seems like it's in transition. So again, whatever we're talking about here, there's this transition phase. And here you are protecting your boundaries. And that's a very healthy thing and a very kind thing to do to others. Not climbing into other people's space, people who are nosy. And, this is the thing about codependence. Codependence is a lack of boundaries. And it goes two ways. Codependent people are, on the one hand, they allow their boundaries to be breached and to allow people to get into their space in an unhealthy way. But at the same time, always, there's, you can't have one without the other. At the same time, they are also having expectations, unconscious expectations, climbing into other people's business, and so it's a very unhealthy situation. But we don't have that here. You may be making some strides in empowering yourself and your own life and your own identity, and so you are having healthy boundaries, and that is also healthy for other people as well. So that's good. Moving on, let's go to the northwest, the top left rune on your screen. Okay, so here we have Kenna reversed. So this is the realm of the ascended masters, the elves, the shining ones, the bodhisattvas. And here, these beings are saying that you are confused. Specifically, they are interested in your evolutionary development. And they always give messages that help you to be helpful and kind and empowering to others. That, you know, there's, when I deal with them, that's always what they're talking about. Here's what you need to do for yourself. But whenever they're talking about how you need to help yourself, it always has an effect on how you interact with others as well. And the whole theme always is evolution. Always. That's all that they are, is they are on the precipice. They're about to merge into the infinity and you know, evolve into who knows what. And they are turning back and watching humans and telling them, listen, here's the only thing that matters, your evolution. You need to think this way. You need to help them this way, whatever it is. So here we have confusion. Confusion represents a lack of determination. So there's something that you need to be doing about your evolution that the elves are trying to help you with, and you are balking a little bit. You're confused. So you need some more determination. Confusion is another way for us to be, to give ourselves an excuse for not taking action towards what we know we need to do. Again, I don't know what your specific situation is, so I can't say more than that. So the next thing I'm going to do is take a look at all the runes, and I'm going to look for Merkstave runes in threes in any one of the directions, and that will tell me if there's a major theme that needs to be worked on. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so did you catch it? So we do have a somewhat serious scenario here that needs some attention. You know, it's okay. It's very, we can work through it, so it's not life-threatening or anything. But the runes here are saying that there is a thread of something that is potentially profound that we need to take a look at. So, sorry, I kind of blocked it there with the little watermark. But take a look again. You're going to see from the northwest down to the southeast, we have 3 Merkstave runes in a row. We'll talk about what that means. So this is telling us that this is the major issue that needs to be dealt with. So the northwest represents your higher self. The southwest represents your subconscious, which is part of your lower self. There is a direct communication between the elves and the dwarves. We want that communication going forward. We want the dwarves to take action to manifest our life in alignment with what the elves have suggested for us is in our best evolutionary interest. So here we have an issue. We have confusion, feeling ungrounded, and thinking about ending something or something coming to an end. Without talking to you more, it's hard for me to decide exactly what's going on here, but what we definitely know is that in order for you to intend your reality, we've got to work through the confusion, and we need to help you feel grounded. So you feel ungrounded, you're confused, and you're trying to figure out, should I stop this? Should I end this? You know, that's what I would say without knowing any more. That's what I would think is going on. So the way that we fix this is we look towards the elves, because the elves are the ones that command the dwarves. So the elves are saying, listen, this confusion that you're having, we gotta cut through that. And so you know what it is that you need to do. And it's time to stop confusing yourself. And the good news is that we see in the north that Uruj is on its way into your life. which means that determination is coming. So maybe as a direct result of this reading, it may have stimulated the universe to bring that to you, which is determination. So the determination to do what it is you know that you need to do for your evolution is coming to you. So I would say, give it a little time and just be prepared. It's always helpful to meditate. Maybe do an elf ritual. Go on to my site, not my site. Go on to my YouTube channel, and I highly recommend people figure out how to search within people's channels. Because people ask me all the time, do you have a video on this? And do you have a video on that? And it's obvious to me that they don't know how to actually go and type into somebody's YouTube channel, keywords. So learn how to do that. It's different if you're doing it on a desktop or on a phone or on a laptop, or, so I can't give you one way to do it, but please figure that out and then make use of my channel and go and type in elf ritual. There's elf ritual 1 and 2. So go do that, and I think that will be helpful for you. So that's all I see here. This is, all in all, a very powerful rune reading. Things are pretty good. There's one somewhat major issue, but it looks to me like it's on the docket, so to speak, that it is about to change very powerfully for you. So give it a little time. Do what you need to do to connect to your elves and your higher self, and it looks like things will work themselves out. So there you go. Happy Easter to you. There is the second rune reading. We are now going to take some time and listen to the happy music and look at the little bunnies, and then I'll come back, and if there are any questions, I'll answer them. So again, the more that you can limit the talking to each other and the throwing out of opinions, and focus on a question, write question in there, I will be better able to serve you and answer questions for you. So let us go dancing with the bunnies. Okay, so those are, now I've done 2 rune readings. You can see what they're like. A lot of people may not be clear on what happens when I give a 9-world rune reading. But you can see it's, for me, it's one of the most powerful rune layouts there is, and I don't do a ton of different rune layouts. I basically do the Norns, which is past, present, and future, and then I'll do the 9-world rune reading. But I really love doing this. It works well if you just tell me what I need to know. You don't really know what a question you need to ask. It'll give you a snapshot of yourself on every level: your higher self, your soul level, your all the aspects of your mind, your unconscious, your superconscious, what you need to do. And it's really good because sometimes on the surface everything can look great, but underneath there might be a problem. And it could be the other way around. On the surface, things could be all chaotic and messed up, but when we look at everything as a whole, we find that actually things are going quite well. So this is one of the reasons I like this this reading. It gives us all of the 9 worlds and all of the influences that's happening to us. Now, when I do a transformation reading, which is the middle one right there, transformation.thunderwizard.com, I will do a Vedic astrological reading, which is extremely important. It's probably the most important thing that I give. This is why when somebody becomes an apprentice of mine, the first thing I do is I take a Vedic reading, because it tells me so much that I need to know about, what's going on with them in terms of the planets and the energies that need to work with them. It tells me which deities they need to work with, and it gives me a mantra that I can give to them which will align them. If they practice that mantra that I give them, which is, it's not just throwing out any old mantra, it's based on very precise astrological vibrations within you. It's basically just for you. It's tailor-made for you, and it helps you stay aligned on your path. I can also take a look at your Aruda, which is your reflection, which means it tells me how the world needs to see you in order for you to be successful. I've talked about it all the time. Mine is the spiritual warrior, which is why I wear this costume. I wear all this stuff and shave the head and lift the weights and all that kind of stuff, because that's who I am. That's how people need to see me. And that's also, it tells me if you go really deep into it, it'll tell you how to be successful, specifically what to do. In mine, it tells me that I need to be doing these things. I need to be doing these weekly videos like you would on a radio station or a reality TV show. That's in my Aruda. I personally, I don't get it. I would not watch me. I would bore the crap out of me. This is the last thing I would want to do. But this is what I'm supposed to do, so I do it. So sometimes we don't know what's best for us or what we need to do, but if you look at a chart, it'll tell you. I do that in combination with a 9-world rune reading, and then I do the North Star astrological reading. So just to give you an idea of what that is, I'm gonna be generous again, and I'm going to ask whoever it was that I did. Who was the last person that I did the reading for? Lady in Thread. So Lady in Thread, if you would please give me your year of birth. Give me the year of birth. Okay, I'm going to have to wait for, I'm assuming she's still there. So let's see. I'm waiting for that. Lady in Thread, what is the year of your birth? Are you still there? Hello? Hello? I know there's a delay, so I may have to wait a little bit. But how much longer should I give her? Let's let the bunnies talk and play. Oh, there you go, 1975. So, 1975. Okay, so I'm not asking for everybody to give me their year of birth. This isn't a free-for-all for everybody. So what I'm showing you here is 2/3 of the transformational reading, which is transformation.thunderwizard.com. I do the 9-world rune reading, and I do a North Star astrological reading, and I do a Vedic reading. So this is not a Vedic reading, what I'm about to give you. This is sort of like the cherry on top of the ice cream sundae, the banana split. Okay, so you were born in 1975. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is find out. I have to find out 1975. And by the way, this runs from February to February. So this means after February 15th of this year, you entered into what I'm going to share with you. So 1975, and this is 2018. What did I say that was? Okay, 2018. You are in a thunder year. So this means that the aspect of the thunder wheel that is most empowered for you right now is the east, right? So we're talking about the eastern direction, which is the realm of thunder. That's where thunder resides. Thunder resides in the east. That is where Thunar resides. That's where Indra, the god of thunder, resides. And this is in multiple traditions, the Chinese tradition as well. Thunder is in the east. So, what is a thunder year? So this means that this is the most powerful year for you for the next 9 years to be able to lay a foundation for who knows what. I don't know if you're starting a business, if you have a business that you want to start, this is the year to lay the foundation for that. So start putting things together, start, mapping out, how the business is going to be, and start laying the foundation, maybe building the home. If it's about building a home, now is the time to build a home. If it's talking about a relationship, this is the year for laying the foundation for that relationship. So it's the power of thunder. When we go into the spring, by the way, if you want to do a powerful ritual to the thunder, you wait for the first thunderstorm of the spring. And when that thunderstorm hits, you face the direction of where the thunder is. You close your eyes, you meditate, and you breathe into your navel center. You can even just put your hands on the navel center and breathe and pull the power of the thunder as you hear it. Make sure you're facing it. Pull it into your navel center, and you will have thunder stored in you for the rest of the year. That's the idea behind this. You're laying the foundation. So thunder is about laying the foundation for the harvest, really. Because without the thunder striking the earth and striking the fields, we wouldn't have the life that we have on the earth. By the way, a lot of when you see like Gandalf's or whoever, they've got a little crooked wand. That crooked wand isn't a crooked root or branch. It's actually called a fulgurite. So if you have especially like in the desert or someplace where you have some minerals in the soil, when the lightning strikes it, it melts that and creates this, this squiggly looking thing, which is a fulgurite. And that's really what the wizards use. They use something that was created by the power of the lightning. So this is the power that you have for this year. So put that into your awareness cap. And again, that's 2/3 of the transformation package. The entire thing is the Vedic astrological reading, the 9-world rune reading, and your North Star astrological reading. Okay, so now I can go ahead and answer some questions. I think I saw a couple of questions up there. Again, the best thing to do is to simply put question. I'm going to start really regulating again the dynamics of the Q&A. If there's a lot of talking, if somebody's being distracting to me, I'm going to mute them. And if people are talking to each other and I have to scroll through a bunch of stuff. What happened yesterday is I couldn't answer a lot. I missed a lot of questions because there was so much chatter going on. I couldn't tell where the questions were. So instead of complaining to you, I'm actually going to do something about it. So just letting you know. Write questions so I know you asked me a question, and then I can answer it for you. So let's take a look here. Where are we here? So, all right. So let me see here. All right. Gremnor Thomas. Question. Whenever I conduct a simple breathing meditation and place my focus on my forehead just above my eyebrows, I feel a weird pain and it goes down my spine as well. Why is that so? Well, first off, you should not be focusing energy on your forehead unless you know what you're doing. So where you should be focusing your energy is in your navel. Now, it could just be as simple as if you close your eyes and sort of look up here, you'll feel some energy, and sometimes it's just as simple as, the optic nerve doing whatever. If it is because of energy, more than likely it's not, but assuming that it is, then, it's you're just having an energy sensation. People get all bent out of shape and think something's happening. they focus on their heart and they feel, it's a psychosomatic thing. Energy goes where your mind goes. So if you focus here, then a lot of blood will go there. If you focus here, a lot of blood will go there. Having said that, you shouldn't be focusing on your third eye. You should be focusing on your navel. Your navel is the hub, and it also is the processing center for life force energy. So that's why when you do the Qigong, when you do the energy work, when you ground, you put your hands over your navel, and then the navel then takes that energy. It knows how to process it. It knows exactly where in the body the energy needs to go. So let your navel do its work. Don't try and think it. People think they're doing something spiritual by trying to open up their third eye. Most of the time you're doing absolutely nothing. And if you are doing something, you may be actually damaging yourself. And having an open third eye means nothing if you don't have a connection to the navel center as well. The navel center is really just the go-to for everything. And that's, I'm telling you this after, 30 years of energy work. If you really want to get yourself empowered and open up everything, just breathe into the navel. That's all you have to do. So that was a good question. Thank you for asking. Gremnor Thomas, how to ground oneself. First, my friend, I don't know if you're new to my channel, you need to go onto my channel and type in Qigong. If you get the Celestial Qigong, which is qigong.thunderwizard.com, which is right there. If you go to qigong.thunderwizard.com, you will learn a very powerful, the most powerful energy system I know that I can teach outside of teaching somebody in person. And you will learn how to ground yourself. But having said that, the easiest thing to do is take your hands right over left and place them on your navel and just breathe long and deep. That's the easiest and best way to ground yourself. All right, so questions. Skyclad Fae seeking truth. Question. Can you give the best runes to put together a ritual for healing cancer? It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of scenario. If you are really serious and you need healing, then one of the things I recommend doing, taking a look at your Vedic chart so I know what's going on an energetic level, to know what deities want to help you. I would need to talk to you, so you could just go to career.thunderwizard.com, and I need to talk to you and ask you a bunch of questions, because there isn't just one healing out there. Especially with cancer. Cancer is strongly connected to, in my experience, strongly connected to karmic issues as well as personal internal conflicts, that you are in conflict with yourself. You may be unconsciously in conflict with others. There may be unresolved anger that you're turning towards yourself. This, in my experience, is many of the things that can create an environment that can result in cancer. So it would be extremely irresponsible of me to just throw this rune at you as though cancer is something that happened to you. It's not my experience. My experience is that cancer is a result of many, many years, sometimes decades, of imbalance on the spiritual and emotional level, and also on the physical. There could be things which I am not qualified to talk about, but there are things that could have helped that. But in my experience, they all come together. So, if I'm here to help you, you really want my help, and I can't guarantee that I will be able to help you, but I would recommend going to career.thunderwizard.com, book a session with me. Let me ask you a bunch of questions and find out what's going on. I might even be able to direct you to some people who I do know who are very successful in this area. So career.thunderwizard.com, and if I can, I'll help you. Okay, so let's see here. Johnny Delgadillo question. Who is Thor's flip side of a coin? Well, Thor doesn't have a flip side of a coin in the same way that Odin does, for instance. So Odin's shadow side is Loki. And we know this from the mythology as well, that Loki is Odin's blood brother. So Thor doesn't have one. I'm more interested to know why you're asking that question. Thor is the electromagnetic force. So if you want to know what Thor's role is in the physical makeup of the universe, go on to Google and just type in electromagnetic force. And the electromagnetic force is what separates the micro from the macro. If it weren't for the electromagnetic force, my hands would go through each other right now. It's the reason why I'm not going through my chair and through the floor into the center of the earth, is because there's this electromagnetic force that keeps, atoms and molecules from, going through each other. Truth is that no matter how hard I press my hands together, my hands aren't touching each other. There's still this extremely thin electromagnetic force holding them apart. That is Thor. So Thor doesn't have a flip side. Okay. Emerson's Coffee, Bike, and Rum Shop. Question. Shango worship is strong on my mother's side of the family tree. How close is Shango to Thor? Well, they're technically the same deity. I have a drum out there that was given to me by a fellow student of the Yoruba tradition, which is who Shango is. Shango is the Yoruba god of thunder and lightning. And he has a hammer. It's his hammer that creates the lightning. Sounds just like Thor. So, I don't want to potentially be disrespectful, but, just from that perspective, we're talking about the same deity. That's how he manifested to the Yoruba people, was Shango. And to our ancestors, he was Thunar. So, same guy, I would say. Let's see. And how much other traditional practices can we include before we get past? Well, as long as you know what you're doing. I work with Vedic, I work with Germanic, and I'm also, I'm qualified to teach Yoruba shamanic drumming. I'm not a priest. I'm not an Ifa priest. So I can't really tell you what's going on with all the Ifa deities, which is the Yoruba tradition. Santeria, Ifa, Voodoo. It's all the same tradition. I don't know them. I can't do that. But, when you tap into the energy of one, you can tap into all of them. So this is, I know you, and I know this is your ethnic tradition splits off into both, right? So I don't think you have to worry about them fighting with each other. I think it'll just empower you and give you a greater understanding. So follow your instinct. If your instinct is to, investigate Shango, then do that. There's a whole tradition. There's a whole separate drumming tradition for Shango that you have to be initiated into. The Bata drums. Yeah. Anyway. Next question. Romnian, Germany. Okay, so yeah, I would recommend people, please don't give out health. He's giving out. This is one of the things I'm going to clamp down on. People throwing out their opinions on stuff. I don't think it's a good idea unless you yourself, can really say how to cure cancer. Please don't tell people what they're missing. I don't think that's helpful. I know you want to be helpful, but telling her, how she needs her nutrition, please don't do that. That's potentially irresponsible. And, unless you're really qualified to do that, I would ask that you don't do that. Red Boo. Question. Can anybody be a wizard? I don't have the answer to that question. I'm not going to say that you can't. Some people might say, no, you have to be called, but I'm not going to say that. If you feel called to be a wizard, which is called to be a shaman, a spiritual practitioner, then do it. So I'm going to go ahead and just say yes. Swift Data question. Are names like Thor actual people, or were they people? No. There is some historical information that says that Odin was a king and all that, but that happened very late in the late polytheist tradition in Europe, and it was when people were, kings do this all the time, when they want to establish themselves as kings, they'll say, oh, I'm descendant from Odin. And Odin was the first king of, and it's just a mythological way of, making a politician, more successful. But no, the gods are the gods, and doesn't mean that there aren't people that weren't named Odin and Thor. But you're asking me, were the gods people first? And I'm going to say no. No, which isn't to say there aren't some gods that could have become gods after being human, but Odin and Thor, no. Thor especially. Thor is not a person. Thor is the electromagnetic force. He was there before humans ever existed, and he'll be here long after humans no longer exist. Okay, I need you to put questions, so I know you're asking me a question. Tom Moran question, have you ever practiced any Irish paganism? I've looked into it. I've looked into Celtic stuff 20, 30 years ago, and that didn't resonate with me, and it was very disappointing because I was under the impression that I was of Irish and Welsh descent because the last name Denny sounds Celtic, until I found out later, after I've been contacted by the Germanic gods, and that confused me as well. And I talk about that in my book, The Thunder Wizard Path. I found out that my last name actually means Danish, which means that my ancestors were Vikings who came over, and there was a lot of Viking waves that came over into Britain, and I was somewhere, my ancestors were some Danes that came over, and so, my ancestor was, yeah, the Danish guy, Denny, that guy. So that's where my last name comes from. Question, what do you know about voodoo? Where it's said it is used to hold people down? I don't know what you're talking about, Grimnor. I get the sense you're probably new to my channel, so I would recommend watching more of my videos to find out what it is that I really focus on, and what questions I can best answer for you. Skyclad Face Seeking Truth question, please can you put the link to what? I don't know what link you're talking about. Are you talking about the link to getting a reading from me or getting a session from me? That would be... There you go. Is that the one you're asking about, having a private session with me? Gremnor Thomas, yeah, you're asking me questions again about voodoo and magic that I don't answer, but thanks for asking a question. Swift Dad, a question. What is a God I know in the Christian context? What are you asking me? I don't know. What is a God you know in the Christian context? I don't know what you're asking. Because some people say we are gods or little gods in there. So I'm not a Christian, and I don't teach that. Please review my videos. I don't teach anything Christian, unless I'm destroying the religion, because I think it's a fake religion. All right, so just in, I'm not too thrilled with that. Let me see here. Yeah, so anyway, if somebody, by the way, if somebody is, uses foul language, I've got a thing set up, it automatically holds it for review, so a lot of times people will come in and their answer won't come up. So same thing, just in, look at what I teach. Please watch my videos to know what I teach so you'll know what kind of questions to ask me. Antonio Sarate, question. You defined Thor as the electromagnetic force. How would you define Freya? It's an interesting one. I'll write it down here. Her name is Freyja in the Germanic. In the Vedic, her name is Praja, and that word is connected to the word for the Vedic god of procreation, which is Prajapati, which is made up of 3 words, Pra, Ja, and Pati. Pra is the same word for Frey. So Frey, his name in the Vedic is pra. Now the Vedics did not worship Frey. They worshipped Prajapati. Prajapati, pati means husband, and Praja means the power of pra. Pra means, comes, progenitor. Fertility, fer comes from pra. It means to expand. So we're talking about the energy of expansion, which is specifically like, eggs expanding, or cells expanding to create life. So Freja is Praja, which means the energy of Pra, literally the energy of Frey. This is why Frey and Freja are seen as both husband and wife and brother and sister. They are the twins of each other. There is the power of fertility, and then there is the Shakti of fertility. So there's fertility and the Shakti of fertility, Pra and Praja. Prajapati means the husband of Praja, which is a long way of saying Frey. Prajapati means the god Frey. There you go. Can I give you more info on vulva? Well, I have a video. You can go on to Amazon and type in my name. And then, so go on to Amazon and type in my name, and you will see a DVD series called, where I talk about the voluspa, which is the vulva. So if you're saying you want to be a vulva, eventually I will be creating a what's the word I want to use? A certification program for that. In the meantime, work with Frega and or Freja and pray to them and ask for guidance for that. Okay. No, not J-A-H, Rasta. So Justin, you're new to my channel, right? You would do me and you a service if you put some time and effort into watching my videos. So that you know how to ask, what kinds of questions to ask me. That way I can best help you. Okay, Amma Love. Question, what should we expect being born under the year of the dog? That is a Chinese thing. I don't have the answer to that, so I can't help you with that. Okay, so I don't see any more questions here. I'm going to... By the way, I don't have anything against Chinese. I'm also a Taoist master, Taoist Qigong. I just don't know that that kind of astrology. The year of the dog, the year of the dragon. I don't practice that. I don't know it. So that's why I can't help you, because I don't focus on that. Okay, so let's listen to the happy little Easter bunny music. And if there are any more questions, I'll take them. Otherwise, we can go off our own separate ways and have an enjoyable Easter. So let's all get happy. cute little bunnies. I would pet them. I would pet those little bunnies. All right, let's take a look and see. I mean, how can you look at little bunnies and not get all squishy and happy? How is that possible? I don't think it is. Okay, what am I doing for Easter? You're looking at it. Okay. All right, did I see any questions here? So, yeah, it kind of sounds like, I'm being a little impatient with some newer people. And I understand what's going on. We've got people who are watching YouTube and things come up and, a live thing over here, and they want to just ask questions and they see I'm talking about spirituality. I really, I love the idea of entertaining. I don't see myself as an entertainer. I really want to be a teacher of knowledge, and I want to give you knowledge that will actually help you to give you a better life. So, and I think that one of the things that's missing with, and again, this is the way YouTube is set up. YouTube is set up to create a really superficial, jump from one thing to the other, because it wants you to do that. It wants you to watch videos all day long. It's how it's going to make its money. But I really also want my channel to be a place of knowledge and wisdom. It means you're going to have to put some time and some effort. You're going to have to learn how to watch my videos. So that's why I do that. That's why every now and then I'll say to somebody, you're new to the channel, please watch my videos. And it's not that I'm trying to be a cranky pain in the ass, but that's the reason why I do that. All right, let's see if there's any other questions here. It looks like we may be getting towards the end here. Phidias Murian, I don't know if I pronounced that right. Question: does Shango connect the inner flame or outer fire to thunder by being a god of thunder, or is he a god of fire and thunder because we see in his name Ang? I'm not even sure I understand where that question is coming from. I'm not able to tell you the etymology of Shango in the Yoruba language, so I can't tell you what the connection is there. I think you're overthinking it. He is simply the same god of thunder and lightning as you see in other traditions. And I'm really not able to get any deeper than that, but I thank you for the question. What's on my left arm? This is part of my costume. It's just a bracelet. It's just a costume, ancient looking type of bracelet that I wear because this is my Aruda. If you're not familiar with what an Aruda is, I talk about it all the time, so forgive me if I'm boring you. An Aruda is in somebody's Vedic chart. You will see what their reflection is. And I have come to decode for myself that the Aruda will tell you exactly how you need to present yourself, and in many cases exactly what you need to do to be successful. This is part of my Aruda. I am the shamanic warrior, so I wear all this stuff because that's how you guys want to see me. If I present myself the way I think I feel about myself, then what ends up happening, and what has happened, is I'm far less successful. So you need to know what your costume is, what your uniform is. The Aruda is the light that the universe shines through you to bless the world, and it's completely out of your doing. You don't even have to try or even know about it. It's happening to you. You can get in the way of it, and then that will mean that people will be unconsciously resentful towards you, and they will unconsciously want to block your success. But when you present yourself according to what your Aruda is, according to what your reflection is, which means the light that bounces off of you, then people will unconsciously want to help you. They'll want to pay for your services, they'll want to hire you, they'll want to be your friend. And it's a way of getting out of your own ego, because you don't run around trying to tell everybody who you are. You just let people experience you the way that they experience you. And when you let them have that, they want to reward you with things like friendship and success and money and all that kind of stuff. So this is part of my costume, and I will probably continue to buy more little trinkets like this, and really create my my shamanic warrior costume, because that's what my Aruda is. Okay, Lady in Thread question: Are the elf ritual? Is that a question? What is the elf ritual? To understand that, you would go to my YouTube channel, thethunderwizard.com, DOTCOM. Please learn how to search within somebody's YouTube channel, because it's not just at the top. There's the bar at the top. You type that in, you're going to see everything on YouTube. You type in widgets, you type it up there, you're going to see all of the the stuff on widgets on all of YouTube. If you can find out how to search within somebody's channel, you can find a little bar where you can type in widgets, and then if I have any videos on widgets, they'll all come up. So go to my channel, type in elf ritual, and you will find those two videos. Those are the videos. If you're asking me about them, that's how you find them. Yeah, it's going to say light elf ritual, or elf ritual, or something like that. Yeah, and there's only two of them. There's 1 and 2. So I think I answered your question there. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions here. I appreciate the fact everybody seems to be well behaved today. And anyway, but yeah, we're dealing with some light stuff here. All right, so I think that's it in terms of this video. I'll give us one trip through the magical fairyland bunny trail, and then if I have anything to say, I will, and if there's any questions, I'll answer them. Otherwise, we may have to end it here. So let's go hopping with the bunnies. And the little bunny is clapping for everybody. Oh, I need to turn that off. Does that make me sound more ominous? All right. Little bunny is clapping for everybody. Yay, everybody. Happy Easter. That's such a cute little bunny. All right. So looks like we might have another question here. Alicia Cole, question: when looking at Aruda with no planet in the house, look at aspecting planets and also where the house lord is placed, including nakshatra, padas. Yes. The first thing that you want to do is you look at the sign that's lording over it. So let's say, like for me, my Aruda is Mars in the 3rd house in Libra. So if there were no planets there, I would know that it was the 3rd house in Libra, so I would look at Libra. and that would be the Aruda. And then you look at Libra in the third house. So you find out what the third house is. The third house has to do with communication, with short-term communication, short-term travel, those kinds of things. So you would put that together. Then yes, you can look at. You obviously want to look at what's directly opposite it, and what other aspects are going on with other planets. If there are any other planets aspecting the third house, then that's going to give a flavor to it. But yeah, if you want to, the nakshatras are more important than some of the planetary aspects. Planetary aspects are more like influences on it, but the nature of it is going to be the planet that's in there, and forgive me for a second. The nakshatras aren't going to be as important, because if there's no planet in there, then there isn't a nakshatra that's talking to a specific planet. So for instance, mine, yes, for me, I can't remember what the nakshatra is, but I've got Mars in there, and I looked at exactly what section of the nakshatra Mars was in, and that told me all kinds of things about what Mars was doing in my Aruda. So to answer your question, if it's just empty with no planets, yeah, you can look at the nakshatras, but it's with no planet in there, then it's more of a general thing. So again, Libra in the third house would mean the more like the kind of like the counselor, because Libra is about fair exchange, and the third house is about communication. So that would be somebody who brings balance with their communication. With mine, you throw Mars in there in his specific nakshatra, then it changes things even, gets even more precise. So I hope I answered your question there. Yeah, it's, when it comes to Arudas, I much prefer, I shouldn't say prefer, but it's more dynamic if there's a planet in there. That gives me a lot more action to deal with. If there's no planet, then people are going to have a more of a general. So let's say if somebody's Aruda is Cancer in the fourth house, then you're going to get all of the power of the sign of Cancer and the fourth house. If you have the moon in Cancer in the fourth house, then you're going to want to look to see where the nakshatra is. And I hope that, anyway, I'm just repeating myself now, so I think you understand what I'm saying. Okay. I don't see any more questions here, so we'll just leave it at that. If you want to have one of the readings that I just gave, you can go to two separate places here. You can go to Rune Readings. Go to runereadings.thunderwizard.com, and that will give you one of the 9 world rune readings. If you want a rune reading plus a Vedic astrological reading, and you want, sorry, I'm distracted, there's people outside making a bunch of noise. If you want a Vedic astrological reading and a 9 world rune reading and a North Star astrological reading, then we need to go to here, transformation.thunderwizard.com. If you just want a Vedic reading, then you want to go here, astrology.thunderwizard.com. Okay, so I think that's it for me. One last check to see if there are any. Nope, I don't see any last minute questions. Happy Pagan New Year, which would be April Fool's. And happy, Easter is kind of a celebration of the spring equinox. So happy, now we're racing full on towards summer. Enjoy your spring. So that's it for me, my friends. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be a part of your empowerment, and thank you for being here for me on my my Easter Sunday. Oh, wait, what just happened? Somebody asked a question. Okay, you're asking me a question. Now, I don't know what Jupiter is in Mula Nakshatra off the top of my head. I'd have to look it up, so I can't help you with that. Amma Love question. If I get an astrology reading with you, will you use my chart from the perspective of an Aries or a Taurus? Okay, you're asking me questions. Vedic astrology is very different from Western astrology. So the perspective is going to be from your rising sign in Vedic, which is going to be 24 degrees different than in Western. So I won't know until I have your date, your time, and the city. I don't do that over these. If you want me to give you a reading, purchase a reading, and I'll give you a reading. But thank you for the question. All right, that's it. Okay, guys. See you soon. Have a great Easter Sunday. Oh, those bunnies want to dance and sing, don't they?